It sounds downright disgusting, but that was the reality of many Depression-era meals. Today, we're going to take you back to the days of culinary desperation and explore the incredible true stories behind some of the weirdest Depression-era recipes ever cooked up. From peanut butter baked inside of onions to pies made of crackers and desserts that make you pucker. Get ready to dig into some seriously strange Depression-era eats. And if you're hungry for more historical tailies, don't forget to subscribe for full meals of historical tailies each week. But first, let's get cracking. First up, we have to tell you about a dish that's as strange as it is delicious: baked onion with peanut butter. Imagine sitting down to dinner and peeling open a baked onion to find it stuffed with creamy peanut butter. Sounds weird, right? Well, for folks living through the Depression, this wasn't just a quirky side dish, it was a main event. During the 1930s, Americans were getting creative in the kitchen, stretching every ingredient to last as long as possible. Meat was expensive, fresh produce was hard to come by, and families had to get really inventive about where they found their protein. Enter peanut butter, a staple of the Depression pantry. It might seem odd today, but back then, peanut butter was promoted as a miracle food, a powerhouse of fat and protein that could replace meat. And what was always in season and extremely cheap. Onions! They were easy to store, lasted a long time, and were a regular sight at Depression-era dinner tables. So what happens when you combine these two unlikely ingredients, peanut butter and onions? You get a filling, if somewhat bizarre meal that could be made with just two ingredients. Here's how it's done. The recipe is painfully simple. Just like most Depression-era cooking, first, you bake a whole onion in its skin until it softens. Then you cut off the top and bottom, peel away the outer layer, and carefully scoop out the inside. Once you have a hollowed out shell, you fill it with a generous amount of peanut butter, then pop it back in the oven. After it's all nice and toasty, you can serve it up. You might be wondering why on earth anyone would eat this, let alone two ingredients. Well, it comes down to necessity and resourcefulness. For families living through the Depression, peanut butter was a great way to add fat and protein to their diet without spending a lot of money. And onions were cheap, plentiful, and a good source of carbohydrates. When you're in a bind and your pantry is looking a little bare, you gotta get creative. This dish might not have been gourmet, but it was practical and filling. Plus, it's not like there were many other options around. But here's the thing, as crazy as it sounds, this dish actually has a lot of fans. Believe it or not, there are people out there who swear by the deliciousness of baked onion with peanut butter. They say it tastes like a baked potato, a nutty, savory treat that sticks to your ribs. If you ask me, I'm intrigued enough to give it a try. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll end up loving it. But one thing's for sure, it's definitely not your average comfort food. Speaking of unusual combinations, next up is a recipe that makes your mouth water and wrinkle your nose at the same time. That's right, it's cornmeal mush pie. Now, don't let the name fool you. This dish isn't exactly what you'd expect. Trust me, I've tried it. It's a far cry from the corn muffin mix you grab at the grocery store. This Depression-era specialty is a cornmeal-based mush that's cooked in a pie pan, kind of like a corn pudding. It's got a stiff batter made with cornmeal, flour, salt, and pepper that bakes until it's golden hued and topped with milk. Once it's all set, you can dig in. Now, you might be wondering why on earth anyone would eat this. Well, the Great Depression was a time when people had to get really creative in the kitchen. Cornmeal was cheap and plentiful, and this dish was a great way to stretch every ingredient. Plus, it's not like there were many other options around. And let's face it, this dish is not for the faint of heart. It's dense, heavy, and not exactly what you'd call appetizing. But if you're willing to give it a try, you might be surprised at how much you enjoy it. Some folks say it tastes like a cross between cornbread and grits, a hearty, savory side dish that's perfect for a cold winter night. And let's be real, we all know someone who's not exactly a foodie and would probably love this stuff. So if you're looking for a unique gift for the foodie in your life, look no further than cornmeal mush pie. Just be prepared for some raised eyebrows and funny looks when they pull it out of the oven. Next, we have to talk about a recipe that's as mysterious as it is tasty. That's right, we're talking about potato salad with beets and cider vinegar. Now, don't let the name fool you. This dish is not your average potato salad. Sure, it's got potatoes and it's got vinegar, but the secret ingredient that makes this recipe truly special is the beets. That's right. Beets, they might sound like an odd addition to a potato salad, but trust me, they make a world of difference. Let me paint you a picture of what it was like to live during the Great Depression. People were struggling to put food on the table, and grocery money was hard to come by. But that didn't stop them from getting creative in the kitchen. This was a time when cooks had to use every ingredient to its fullest potential and come up with new and exciting ways to use whatever they had on hand. Potato salad was a popular dish, but people wanted to give it a unique twist. Enter the beet. Not only did it add a vibrant pop of color to the dish, but it also brought a unique flavor that was both sweet and earthy. The acidity of the vinegar cut through the richness of the potatoes and the beets, creating a harmonious blend of flavors that was both tangy and satisfying. But it wasn't just about the taste. It was also about resourcefulness. Beets were a cheap and easy way to add protein and nutrients to a meal that otherwise might have been lacking. Plus, they were a great way to use up leftovers. If you're feeling adventurous, I say, give it a try. You never know. You might just surprise yourself and discover a new favorite dish. And who knows? Maybe you'll even impress your friends and family with your knowledge of Depression-era cooking. Just be prepared for some funny looks when you pull out the beet-stained potato salad. But hey, that's all part of the fun, right? And finally, let's finish off with a recipe that will make you pucker and reminisce. Meat vinegar pie. Imagine sinking your teeth into a slice of pie and being hit with a burst of sourness that makes your face scrunch up in surprise. Well, that's exactly what you can expect from vinegar pie. But don't let its unusual taste fool you. This pie is a true Depression-era classic. It's a simple dessert that's made with just 3 ingredients: vinegar, sugar, and flour. Yes, you heard that right, vinegar! This dish might sound strange, but trust me, it's worth a try. In the days of the Great Depression, people had to make do with what they had, and vinegar pie was the perfect example of that. When times were tough and ingredients were scarce, people didn't let that stop them from finding ways to enjoy a good meal. They got creative and came up with dishes that might seem strange to us now, but were a welcome change of pace back then. Vinegar pie was a simple dish that could be made with just a few basic ingredients that were always on hand. Vinegar, sugar, and flour. The combination might seem odd, but the result was a dessert that was both tart and sweet and surprisingly satisfying. It wasn't fancy, but it was flavorful, and it was a great way to use up leftovers. If you're feeling adventurous, why not give vinegar pie a try? You never know. You might just surprise yourself and discover a new favorite dessert. And who knows? Maybe you'll even impress your friends and family with your knowledge of Depression-era cooking. Just be prepared for some funny looks when you pull out the vinegar pie. But hey, that's all part of the fun, right? And with that, we're gonna wrap up this Depression-era feast. I hope you enjoyed these wild recipes and learned something new. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe for more history served straight up. Thanks for joining me in happy Depression-era cooking.